Hello YouTube, welcome to another edition of Rob's Arcade. As usual, I'm your host Rob, and I'm coming to you from the arcade with another fun and informative episode. First, we're going to be doing a little art class where I teach all of my Player 2s how to draw a classic cartoon character. After that, we're going to take a trip on down to the Classic Game Showcase where we spend some time playing a video game based on the same classic cartoon character. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I'm sure all of my Player 2s have an idea by my outfit what we're going to be drawing. But how about we have a look? That's right, Player 2s. The topic of this episode is Snoopy from the classic Peanuts comic strips and Peanuts animated specials. He's also the star of the brand new show on Apple TV called The Snoopy Show. Now I'm going to teach all my Player 2s how to draw Snoopy using only easy to draw simple shapes. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure all my Player 2s are going to love this. But before we get to that, did I ever tell my Player 2s about how I actually used to be a character in Peanuts comic strips? No, it's true. I made 3 appearances before they decided that my character was too old. Give me a break, Charles Schultz. I happen to be awesome. Let's have a look at these 3 comic strips before we actually start our art class. Let's check them out. Okay, Player 2s, let's get started drawing Snoopy. We're going to use the same process that we always use. I'm going to draw in red on this white dry erase board. When I draw in red, I want you to press very lightly with your pencils. This is the guideline step. Eventually we're going to go in and we're going to erase all of these pencil lines. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw an oval. After that, starting right about here, we're going to draw a second oval. We're going to, starting about right about here, we're going to draw a little curve, and then a little curve right there. So as you can see, when we combine these 3 shapes, we have his head. The next step that we're going to do, starting right about here, we're going to draw an oval. We're going to leave a little gap between this area that we did right here, that's the neck, right there to the body. At the bottom of this, we're going to draw 2 rectangles. One this big and one slightly smaller right there. Then we're going to draw two ovals. One about that size, and another one about the same size, but again, we're going to be drawing right through. These will be for the feet, and if this is a little bit easier for you, take your eraser and just erase that other guideline right there, followed by erasing this guideline right here, and then you can see that that is the shape of his foot. The next step, we're going to draw a rectangle inside of here, inside of this body shape, with a circle at the bottom. Okay, again, we're pressing very lightly. We're going to go back in here and we're going to add some detail to this stuff later on. We're going to do an oval up here for his ear. So this way we have head, ear, neck, body, feet. Right here, where the neck and the shoulder, or the neck and the body part meet, we're going to draw a little rectangle, and we're just going to close up the rest of these lines right here. So there's going to be a little curve right there. So all of my player 2 should have a shape that looks like this or very similar to that, like this. If you don't, pause the video, take a look at your drawing, and compare the video to the drawing that you have on the paper and find out where you made your mistakes. Then we can go back in, rewind the video, catch where you made your mistake, and then come back to where you're at now, and you'll be all good. We're going to start adding detail right now. So this is when I pull out the blue marker. When I draw in blue, you press a little bit harder with your pencils. Not too hard, just enough to separate these lines that we did in this step to the lines that we're doing in the next step. First thing we're going to do, at the tip of his nose, we're going to draw a circle. Then we're going to go around our guidelines that we have here. So we're going to start right there. We're going to be very loose with it because we're going to combine all these circles that we did and make one shape out of them. So we're going to go down and around. We're going to add a little curve. So we're going to be a little bit out of where the original ovals met right there. Follow this around here. Over the neck. We're going to go up the other side of the neck. So we should have a shape like this. So when we eventually go in and we erase our guidelines, which I'll do very quick over here, we'll have a shape that is one solid shape right there. We're going to draw an eyeball a little bit past where that shape, where the two circles would have intersected, excuse me. Starting right about here, we're going to go around our oval that we did for the ear, and then we're just going to make a letter U, and then we're just going to fill it in. We're just going to scribble a little bit just to add some darkness here. You don't have to do this in this step. You can actually do this in the very finished step, the inking step. But what I like to do is I like to do this here just to make sure that I have an idea what it's going to look like before I actually put the inks on there. Because if I don't like how it looks when I ink it, then I can't erase it. Starting right about here, we're going to do a little curve, upward curve. Add a little smile. And go in here, I'm just going to shade that in a little bit. I'm going to trace over his collar. And then again, the same thing that we did with this shape right here, we're going to combine everything and just make this all one solid shape. Follow the curve around here, go down around the foot, trace over the foot, and we're going to stop here at the hand. We're going to do that last. Then the other leg, we're going to separate that. So right now you should have the body, and then the two legs and the 2 feet. Inside the foot, we're going to add 1, 2 curve for toes, 1, 2 curve for toes. Then when we're done with that, we're going to go and we're going to do the fingers first. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to go straight up here following our guidelines that we originally did for the lines. We're going to go over the shape that we did right here for the body, and then we're going to add a little tail. So as of right now, step 2 is done. Again, pause your video if you feel like something's a little off. Take a look at your picture, rewind it, find where the mistakes that you made were. As far as I can tell with all of my player 2s, I think you guys should have no problem with this because everything that I've seen that you've put out there has been amazing. All my player 2s have been doing a fantastic job with this process. I can't stress how impressed I am. The next step and the final step, we're going to be taking our black marker and we're going to be inking over only the lines that we did in blue. This is the finishing step. Actually, I also forgot a little spot too. He has a little hair that sticks up right there. So we can do that with our finishing step. Just add that little hair. Now we're going to start tracing over everything that we've drawn. I'm going to fill in the eye. I'm going to go around the shape that I did for the head. Here's a smile. And his nose, I'm going to leave a little bit of white space there just for a little highlight. I'm going to trace over the neck. And his big old floppy ear. Inside the ear, again, scribble this in just really quick just to show you guys what this would look like. Collar. Over the body. Back of the body and the tail. The fingers, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to bring that straight up. Down right there. Back of the leg, foot. Top of the leg, I'm going to go over the 3 toes, or 2 toes, excuse me. 2 lines actually separate it, making 3 toes. Over the other foot, over the lines. And there you go. We now have a finished Snoopy drawing. When you're done inking, stop, take a second, make sure that you inked over all the lines that you need. And again, when you're inking too, make sure you're only inking over the necessary lines, the lines that we did in the second step, the lines that I drew in blue, because these lines are all going to get erased and they're going to help make one finished piece. So make sure that you have all your lines, because the next step, when this ink dries, we're going to erase everything, all the pencil lines, and we're going to leave only the ink. So if you missed a step, take a good look. But there you go. All of my player 2s have just drawn Snoopy, and I'm sure you've all done an amazing job. On this edition of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to break out the old Nintendo Entertainment System and check out Snoopy's Silly Sports Spectacular. Loosely based on the British home computer game Alternative World Games, Snoopy's Silly Sports Spectacular is a sports game released by Kemco in 1988. This game is a collection of 6 events in which players control Snoopy or his brother Spike in 2-player mode as they compete in sack racing, pole vaulting, and more. In sack racing, players compete in a race to the finish line, dodging flipping manhole covers along the way. If a player falls too far behind, Woodstock gives them a little push forward so they remain on screen with the other player. Another event is the boot throw, in which players must rotate the directional pad to gain enough momentum to throw a boot as far as possible. Overboard is a bit of a strange one, as Snoopy and Spike compete against each other to push their opponent out of a boat. High carry takes place in front of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and is Snoopy attempting to carry a stack of pizzas over a finish line, dropping as few pies as possible. In Pogo Bar Jump, the player uses a pogo stick and attempts to jump over as many pillars as possible. Failure to make it over a bar results in a foul. Lastly is the River Jump, in which the player must use impeccable timing to pole vault over a small body of water. While Snoopy's Silly Sports Spectacular is a fun game, it's rather short. All the events can be completed in around 5 minutes. An interesting fact about this game, in Japan, the same game was released with Disney characters taking the place of the Peanuts characters due to the video game company Capcom USA holding the rights to the Disney license in North America. Capcom decided to license Snoopy instead for the North American version. If you come across this game and have about 5 minutes to spare, I highly recommend checking it out. Till next time. And that's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now as far as the next episode goes, well, we're going to be spending some time with some superheroes who don't really do a lot of super things.
Titans, go!
I'm sure my player 2s are going to love this. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you next time at Rob's Arcade.